I'm Alli. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melisa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles.
Welcome.
I decided to get a jump on it.
Well, you know what's funny is right now I had a different screen pulled up. So I was
what they don't know is that we already did a full 40-minute episode that is in the cloud somewhere that we can't find.
That went into the oblivion. And you know what's funny is, like, considering we have really no formal training on what we're doing. I mean, I have a little. It's surprising that this doesn't happen more often, that we just totally lose an episode.
I know, lose an episode, or it is always like touch and go.
Yeah.
Like every time I set it up, it's like a brand new, it's like I'm seeing it for the first time.
It's like it's like you're a brand new newborn baby.
Exactly.
I'm teach you how to walk again.
I'm going to take a picture of what it looks like on my side with the cords. It's like, I can't believe in 2022, this is the setup.
But you know what? It's actually very simple. Like the board that we have and everything, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, but it's just strange to me that it's like, it takes this much. It's like such a wind up of 25 cords. It's like, how it's technical.
You got a power cord, you got microphones, you got headphones, you got hardwired to the computer.
Yes.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Then the other thing that I'm going to bring up, just since we're getting started, is my computer is cranked all the way to full volume.
And you can't hear?
I can hear you, but you're not like super loud.
Is it just me right now?
I don't know. Maybe you are.
I don't know. Marina told me yesterday I was brushing my teeth and I was talking and I was trying to talk over the water. And she's like, why are you yelling right now?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not yelling. I'm trying to make up for the fact that water's running.
I've done this. I used to like say to Maria when I can't hear her, she mumbles. Like, I'm not the only one who says so. Lots of people say it. And so she'll be like, and then I'll be like, what? And then she'll be like, like she's so put out that she has to repeat it. So now I don't even say what, I just go, yeah. Or like I pretend I heard it.
God knows what you're agreeing to in that moment.
And she'll come like winding around the corner. What do you mean? Yeah. And I'm like, well, I didn't even hear you. So I'm scared to say what, but I'm also like, it's just, you can't win.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I do the same. I mumble a lot too. So
you do? Oh, you're a mumbler?
Yeah. I mean, I try not to, but it happens sometimes. Like if I'm tired, I think it kind of runs in my family because my older brother is like the worst culprit of mumbling.
Okay.
Like, I mean, there was one time he said like an entire fucking like 2.5 minute paragraph, and I understood the word Camaro out of all of it. And like me and my sister looked at each other and we were like, all I heard was Camaro.
And but what is it? Is it like tight, late? I mean, especially you, because you are this is what you do for a living.
I think it's more so like when I get tired.
Yeah.
Like it's, like I'm just trying to, whatever, like.
Right.
Or sometimes maybe I talk too quietly. And that's why I'm overcompensating when the water's running.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. Yeah. So I just now go, because I'm scared to say what.
But then I'm like, is my hearing bad? Do I just like not, am I getting older? And so now I have no idea how loud anything is.
I can't my thing that makes me worry about my hearing isn't that I can't hear, because I can hear everything. I'm very like attuned, but I can't differentiate if there's like a lot of background noise. It's like, it really bothers me, which I think is like one of the signs of like you're losing your
that's true. Like I have noticed that more so lately. Like if I am somewhere where there's a lot of background noise, I am getting fucking irritated.
I know, I get so irritated because I can't totally hear. I have to like really dial it in, and I don't have my ADD won't let me do that.
Right. Yeah.
So then it's like, I can't win.
Oh my God.
It's terrible.
Speaking of ADD, Marina and I have been like working on getting my house like entirely unpacked. And she is like, you are so ADD with how you pack. Like it is driving her batshit.
She
Like
can't even believe
with
it.
trying to like, yeah, like she opens a box and she's like, what was the thought process?
There's like a
And
pot for the kitchen and like a vibrator.
towels. Yeah, that's where our missing sex toy is.
That's right. You guys missed on the last Lost episode. There's a missing sex toy.
We noticed this because Marina's moving out of my condo and into her own. She's been renting mine. And I'm like going through the drawer and I'm like, I don't know where this specific toy is. Like, that's weird. I mean, let's just say what it is. It's a glass, like, dildo, I guess.
Whoever, you know
Yeah.
who you are. Bring back, no questions
So bring
asked.
back my glass dildo. That thing's not fucking cheap.
Do you even
Okay.
want it back?
Yes.
Where's
I mean,
that
it's not
thing
like
been?
it's not like oh well, that's true.
What
Now that
gross
someone's taken it,
situation
like
has
now that
someone
someone's
happened to-
taken it, like I don't know if there's
Just
enough
leave me money.
enough
Leave me-
bleach in the world. Just
leave me
Venmo
an
me.
envelope of cash.
Venmo me the $100, whatever. But I mean, like I said, it's not like something that we're using that often, so I didn't even notice it till packing up. I'm like, that's a weird thing to be missing right now.
I know, who would take it?
I don't know.
But give me a list of everyone who stayed
I
there.
can't. I know. I cannot give you a list of
You
people.
know in
who,
your
no.
heart who took it. Who's got the balls to take it?
I have a culprit in mind, but I mean, how do you accuse someone of that?
Oh,
You know,
man. You say, bring me back my dildo.
or else.
Or else. Why don't you stick Marina on him? Marina's tough.
I mean, that's true. She can be pretty scary. It's funny because
When
she's
it
like the
comes to
sweetest
vibrators,
fucking
is there a
human.
difference between a vibrator and a dildo?
Yes.
Okay.
The dildo doesn't vibrate.
Oh.
Yeah. And I'm also wondering if this is technically a dildo since it's glass. What would that be called?
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person.
But
so you have a culprit in mind.
I do.
It might be the
I
quiet
can't really.
partner, the quiet, unassuming partner.
What do you mean?
I mean, sometimes it's not what you think. Like sometimes it's the opposite of what you think. It's like the quiet person that's too scared to go get their own thought, I've got an opportunity, I'm going for it.
Yeah. Well, okay, it is called a dildo of its class. I just looked it up. And Adam and Eve has a candy cane one right now.
Oh God.
For only $25. So I guess it's a Black Friday sale.
No.
So
no,
there you go.
No, thank you. Bag of dicks.
A bag of
Of
dicks.
dicks.
Oh my God.
Well, what are we talking about today?
Well, per our previous episode.
Let's see if we can do this again. Actually, we're gonna save you guys because the last episode started to get really bleak.
It did. It got a little sad. So maybe this was the universe doing us a favor that it got deleted.
It definitely was.
But we talked a little bit about our Thanksgiving, which we both spent with family and my parents, my former father-in-law, my ex-husband, the whole nine. So that was nice to have everybody in one space and be able to host again for the first time since I got a divorce.
Yep.
And
I think that led to a conversation around any anxiety with your current partner, and then your family's all there and you're worried that they're maybe going to talk a lot about your ex or your old life. And you said no.
That's not really, I mean, part of it is that he's there. So like my parents can talk to him, but your parents and your ex are a lot closer, like as in like calling each other on the phone. Like he's not calling them. Like he might send a text or something, like if it's a birthday, that kind of thing, but they're not talking on the phone.
Yeah, I wouldn't say mine talk all the time, but they do talk. And he called my parents while we were there to say happy Thanksgiving. And so my mom, she's doing what she thinks is totally fine, and it is totally fine. But sometimes Maria's reaction might be, I sense in Maria like annoyance, that it's just like, oh
Mhm.
my God, my mom will be like, Chris called. How's he
Well, I
doing?
mean,
How's the business? Duh, 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 duh. And it's just, I
is it
sense,
partly that like he's calling in the midst of you guys having your time together? Like, like the timing's just not right.
maybe, but it's like, it's Thanksgiving is the timing. I mean, he's calling on Thanksgiving to say happy Thanksgiving. I'm
I
thankful for
know, but I
you.
mean, I would think maybe make that phone call like in the morning or like closer to the evening.
I
Like,
don't know if he would even think it
I don't
through.
know, but
He
he's probably not,
also,
that's just it. He's probably not even thinking about that part.
no, and I had the kids. So I think part of it too is he wanted to spend, he wanted to hear from them too. So we're all there. So if I have
Hmm.
all the kids, and it just felt like probably to him, like I'll knock it out right now and we'll talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And he really doesn't think anything of it.
Hmm.
So it's
I
more
mean,
my own thing. Like I'm just then on high alert. I'm anxious. Is she gonna get triggered by my old life? And it just creates this like week of I'm uncomfortable.
yeah. Did was he invited to come with you guys?
No, 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 because we were all the way in Florida. I mean, they just had the hurricane.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there was none of, I mean, no, we just went with the kids and it was great. I mean, we had a great time. My sister hosted, it was wonderful. It was beautiful there.
Did
Um,
everyone's house like fare okay in that
It
storm?
did. Like, there's a few things that, like, my parents' house seemed shockingly fine. I mean, there was stuff everywhere, but
Yeah.
they had, people pulled there were trees and debris. That's all picked up. It's just that there's no one really to take it away. And my parents live on an island. I think I've mentioned this, where there literally is no bridge. So to get
Hmm.
stuff back and forth, there's a ferry. So to get people to load all the down trees and the siding
Oh yeah.
is like such a bigger effort. It's happening slowly but surely, but not
Hmm.
yet. But yeah, little things like that. I mean, that's fine. Their house is totally fine. My
That's
sister's
good.
house, her like pool cage came off the pool and like flew somewhere, but they were happy because she's like, it's such an eyesore. We never wanted it. So now
Their
it's like
pool
gone.
cage,
Yeah,
what
like
does that
people in
even mean?
Florida have these lanais
Oh,
where
like the
you like
screened-in
a
porch around the
screened-in
pool?
porch around the pool. It's so
Okay,
ugly, like,
yeah.
but it's a thing down there that everybody does.
No, I think it's a great idea. If I lived in Florida and I had a pool, I would so want one because otherwise it's like bugs
I know there
everywhere.
are bugs, there's a whole thing, but
There's
she's,
alligators.
yeah, she's not gonna put it back on though.
Yeah. Hmm.
Anyway, so it's all good.
This has a
Everybody,
lot to do with being gay.
this has a lot to do with being gay. So we were there with like 20 of my relatives. It was totally great, but I always have that underlying anxiety because I think our past has been that there have been frustrations around my partner and my ex and boundaries. And I think she
Yeah.
sometimes feels fear around that relationship. And so when my parents are constantly bringing it up, which they do, it's hard for her.
I think I that's one of the hard things about leaving such a long-term relationship is setting those boundaries and pulling yourself out from being so connected to that other person.
Yeah.
I think there's a degree of us like not wanting to do that, but
Yeah.
then you kind of have to.
Yeah. If you want to move on.
Like I kind of, Maria's been with you since the early days of
Coming
your
out.
marriage ending and
Yeah.
coming out. And it's like I kind of feel like because of that, it's been a little bit more difficult. Like Marina isn't seeing that like attachment with that Tom and we don't have
No,
that
you had
anymore,
already
you
dealt with
know?
that.
Yeah, like it's already been sorted through and like we're already pretty detached, you know? I'm not really calling him to do much of anything other than maybe borrow something on occasion or, that
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But it's funny, like during Thanksgiving, um, let's see how to explain this. His girlfriend's stepdad was there, and he's telling me that I need to fertilize my lawn, which I do, but I've never done that before. And Marina was like, "Hey Tom, Melissa needs to fertilize her lawn." And Tom's just like, "Well, there's companies that do that."
Yeah,
Like,
like, exactly.
like there's people you can pay to
Yeah.
do that. Like
Don't rely on me.
he's like, do not sign me up to be coming over here to fertilize the lawn. So,
Yeah, he's like, I don't need two wives.
but maybe like 4 years ago, he might have been like, okay, yeah, I'll stop by next week and do that, you know?
Right, right. I know that times are changing, but in a good way.
Yeah. But
Um,
also, who do I get to fertilize my lawn?
yeah, you're gonna have to call Arbornomics.
I need a lawn care tips.
I have to say, I really do like our people,
Yeah.
like for the lawn fertilizing. Like I do think, like when I walk down our street, I often think like how good ours looks
That's,
compared to other people's dead lawn.
you
Or
know,
like
we were talking
patchy.
about getting older. That's a sign of age.
I know.
You're
Well, let's
comparing your
get into
lawn.
the part about the permanence, impermanence, and kind of like I think part of what we're really talking about, which is when you're married, you're in this like 20 years of safety because you share these children and it feels very permanent, and it's shocking when divorce happens because it's not what you saw or thought was going to happen for you. You come out, you're gay. There's nothing wrong, but it's just like you never thought that was going to happen. And now on the other side, you and I discussed how like, and this is, I'm going to catch hell, but it feels like a more transient community in that like there's less
There's less of a sense
permanence.
of permanence.
Yeah. And like you and I
Um,
tried to come up with 5 couples that have been together forever,
more than 10 years, I
more than
think
a
was our
decade.
goal.
And we came up with
And
2
we
or
came up with
3.
3.
And I was saying
So,
that like in my married life, my friend group who are still my friends, they're all still married to the same men, 20 plus years. There is divorce. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's very rare. It's 50% of people get divorced, but I can tell you in my circle, that wasn't the case. It was less
yeah.
than that. And so in this group, I don't know if I don't know what it is. Like it scares me and I'm just going to say it out loud. Like I'm looking for the forever thing.
Hmm.
It's not always going to be happy. It's not, you're going to have down months, down years. I'm sure my parents did.
Yeah. But I think there's a lot of factors at play there, you know, like for one, like you and I both, when we married our ex-husbands, it was like there was such a permanence there. They were
Yeah.
like in it forever. Like nothing could have prepared me for the fact that I was going to realize that I was gay and get a divorce one day. Like
Same.
there's not remotely on my radar, nothing that I ever thought would happen. And like if I could have gone back and told my 26-year-old self, you're going to be getting a divorce in 11 years, I'd have been like, no fucking way.
There's no
Like,
way.
impossible.
And then
And
add a baby and it got even more solid.
yeah. And I think that the fact that we were so securely in those relationships and then we ended up leaving, it makes
Yeah.
us worried about what the possibility is for a future relationship
Yeah.
and what kind of level of permanence could be there. And then on top of that, I think with like you're referencing to the straight relationships, I think, you know, maybe divorce isn't, I don't know which one divorce is more prevalent in, you know, same sex or straight relationships, but I think with a lot of like the straight couples that we know, there's a lot of like stay-at-home moms. They are very tied to their husbands financially. And I think a lot of women put up with a lot of bullshit because of that, because it's so scary to let go of that like financial security,
Valid.
you know?
It's
Um,
true. But then you could make an excuse for gay people like, oh, they can't leave because they came through so much to be able to get married. So now they're stuck. They don't want to get divorced because it's like, you fought to get here. You can't get divorced.
right.
So, I mean, you can always have a reason, I guess, to me. Like, I'm not trying to be like, I'm just asking the question in a really naive way. Like,
Hmm.
maybe it's the people I hang out with. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Everyone, when I have this conversation, will be like, oh no, that's not true. Like, it's the same. Look at this couple, this couple. Yes, you can give me examples, but I'm just telling you, I'm always like at a party, if I meet a lesbian couple that's been together 20 years, I'm always like, whoa, that's amazing. I don't
Mhm.
say that to hetero couples because that's commonplace.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I guess I would think though with like a same-sex couple to have been married for that long, like, yeah, it is unusual to hear, but it's also like they've had to fight through a lot more.
Yeah.
Like they haven't had it like easy by any means. I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
lot of like hurdles with like dealing with family, dealing with coworkers, um, dealing with just being out in public.
Right.
And I mean, Jesus, like even it's 2022 and I can't remember if I've talked about this on the past episode about me and Marina went to the Scott Antique Market, right? Which is this like market set up like in a big warehouse thing, like just outside of Atlanta, like tons of different stuff, a lot of like different vendors and stuff like that. And you're outside of the perimeter. You're not in Atlanta. We're walking around there holding hands and we're getting looked at left and right,
Yeah.
and it's 2022. It's like, is it really like that you have to do a double take when you see us or
Yeah.
give us a snarl look? Um,
Right. I guess too, like, it's not fair to say, because you could Google divorce rates, but it's also like a lot of same-sex couples never get married legally. They're just together for years and
mhm.
years. So I guess in all fairness, I'm considering those breakups too. Like I'm throwing that
Yeah.
in. Like you'll hear about these couples that were together 6, 7 years and they break up. 5 years
Mhm.
they break up.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm curious around that. Like
Yeah. I mean, it's scary. I think the scary part too is that we've been through the pain of like having such a long-term relationship end. The
yeah.
thought of like enduring that again is like fucking scary.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like
Like,
I
and
don't want to do it. I want to build, nothing's a guarantee, but I want to build the pretty solid foundation that nobody is um questioning it anymore. And
yeah.
I'm guilty. Like I don't feel totally safe. And it's been years now.
Mhm.
And so I just wonder, like, do you ever get that again? Or is that ship sailed? My sister is remarried. She got divorced and remarried, and she would say she's 1,000% safe. She doesn't even, she's
Yeah.
safer now than she ever was. So
Mhm.
it's like, what's the difference? Why? What is it me? Is it my personality?
I
Am I
was gonna
just
say,
a questioner?
is it just the outside factors too? Like of,
Yeah.
just because that's what's happening to other people, that doesn't mean that that's what's gonna happen to you.
No. And I'm not saying, I'm just in general, like it's something that's like always on back of mind for me of like, it just seems like all the time. Don't you feel like we get together and you'll be like, yeah, did you hear so-and-so broke up?
Mhm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
them too? What?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Like it's
It-
just, it's annoying to
it's
me. I'm
annoying.
like, like, do you just quit faster now? Or do you just, you get excited about another new shiny
I
thing?
mean, it's kind of like what people would say is happening in general with like all relationships right now is because you have so many possibilities with like
Mm-hmm.
being able to like hop on these dating apps. Like that makes it harder for everyone to be committed right now. Like I think specifically like men are like that. They always want to see what else is out there. And they could be in a relationship where they feel good and the woman is good to them and all this stuff, but then it's like, but what else? What more? And it's as easy as hopping on a dating app. 30 years ago, how are you, gonna approach someone about having an affair or like meet someone else?
Yeah, it was not nearly as
It
accessible.
wasn't as easy.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like now it's in your pocket, literally.
it's literally in your pocket. And I don't even know that I don't think my partner would ever have an affair, and I know I wouldn't. But I do think that there's like other stressors now that are like, whoa, like I don't know, like it is stressful. It's
Hmm.
not always easy. It's not always safe to the extent that I need it to be. And it could be a factor of my life, like right now, like my work is busy. I've verbalized in my relationship before, like this needs to be easy because I have so much happening right now. Like I can't, I don't need drama. Like the kids still stress us to some extent. The extended family stresses us to some extent. Like there's just always a little bit of unrest, and I'm curious around other people's experience. And I think the holidays kind of got me thinking about people break up more often in these. It feels like this lesbian community, I see a lot of breakups. And I wonder if other people, if they're quiet, would agree with that, or if they would immediately say, no, that's not true.
But we could also be seeing a lot of breakups because it's like we have friends that are newly out and kind of like experiencing these things for the first time and figuring stuff out.
That's true.
So
you're saying my sample size isn't good. My sample.
The
quality of my sample isn't good.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that. I hope that that's true.
Because I mean, I think there are a lot of couples that they're in it for the long haul, and a lot of people that want to work towards improving their relationships and knowing that it's not always going to be great,
Yeah.
I really think that people, if you really want to be with someone, there's really nothing you can't work through outside of a shift in sexuality.
Yeah.
Or infidelity. Like that's not someone cheats on me, like peace out. Like we're done and done. That's not something I can work through.
Yeah. I don't know like how I feel about that. Like I don't know that I consider infidelity different than I don't want someone to cheat on me, but I think you can be disloyal without cheating on me.
Well, that's true. And even that I think is tough to work through.
Very.
Yeah. When you're having any kind of like level of like intimacy with someone else that is not your partner, like I think that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And if you're wanting to stray in that way, your partner is the first one that should know.
Right.
Like when you're left in the dark like that, it's shitty.
Totally.
And I think it's not even so much like the physical act of cheating. It's everything that goes into it. All the lies that go into it. I saw this like comedian talking about this once where he's like, my girlfriend cheated on me and she said it was just one mistake. Like, you're going to leave me over one mistake. And he's like, no, I'm leaving you over a series of mistakes, a series of decisions that you made to get there.
Yeah.
And that's just it. It's like, it's not like all of a sudden someone's in your bedroom and you're hooking up with them.
No.
There's so many things that happened prior to that that made that happen.
Right.
So,
but even beyond the relationship, like I'm not talking about me personally, so I don't want people to like think anything's happening, but I'm talking about even like you can be disloyal to me in many ways. Like sometimes my sister and I, like we're in business together, like she and I will get on the same page with outside people of the business so that we are never disloyal to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, if Maria had a conversation with a family member about me, that to me feels disloyal. Or if, little tiny, what I call like micro aggressions or micro offenses to me can feel disloyal. And so I sometimes look at that too. Like it doesn't have to be a romantic thing. It might just be like doing things that are just kind of suspect.
Yeah.
Have you ever been out and you've met someone like, they're in a relationship? I think you mentioned someone to me the other day that you were like, this person's a little suspect. Like, it's interesting that they're in a relationship because I've met them out and I get suspect vibes.
Gotten vibes that
and like nothing happened,
like
but it's
wandering
like there's loyalty there.
Yeah. And I think that does happen a lot, and I think it's just people that aren't truly in it. It's a space filler relationship,
right? Or
maybe they don't even know that
No,
you know?
and they say that the people who cheat are generally extremely insecure people. It's people that are struggling with their own shit that like need that
100%.
outside validation. Strong people
Yeah.
don't do that. Badass people come to the table and say, this isn't working.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. That's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
But I think that's true. I've never met someone
I
who,
agree. I think,
yeah,
I think if you start to have those kind of feelings, the strong, badass thing to say is like, this is what's happening within me. Like, we either need to break up or do some work here because I feel like I'm going to go elsewhere.
yeah,
Like, that's the right thing to do in that situation. And I think sometimes it's almost like that's self-sabotage, like
yeah,
that relationship isn't working. They're too scared to say the words, but it's easier to do the action than say the words,
yeah,
and pay for it on the back end.
right.
I don't know why that is.
I think because people want to test the waters and see if it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because they're so scared. It's the insecurity of, I can't be here by myself. So I'm going to see if this is worth it. And if it is, then I'll break your heart. But if it isn't, I'm just going to come back to where I am.
And what a selfish fucking thing.
Totally. Who wants that person?
No. Ugh.
So I think that, but I'm not saying that happens all the time, but I'm just saying in general, like, I think the holidays and then, our conversation before we recorded, there's a couple recently that you talked about that were breaking up after 5 years. And, I don't know. And it does seem like 5 years is like, you hear about 5 years a lot.
Well, technically it's a 7-year itch, but
I know.
I think, relationships are hard and you change and you grow, and it's very much what happened to us. Like getting married to that man, right decision at the time, but we changed and we grew and we got more comfortable with who we are as people.
Yeah.
And realized we needed to go.
Right. You only know what you know at the time, like Jamie says.
Yeah. And I think that, it is really shitty to like have to end a relationship. But if you're not happy, then you're not happy.
Yeah, but how long?
Like,
Like,
yeah,
you're not going to be happy all the time. So to my
right.
point
You're
of
not going to be
wanting
happy all the
forever,
time. I think
like
in those cases you need to do the work and try to save it if you want.
right. Yeah. But I
It's
think
not
like
always
that is,
easy.
it's not always easy. And I think I just am curious around this population, like, is there a sense like you bail quicker? Or
Yeah, I think there is. I think some
yeah,
people do bail quicker than others. And maybe that's just the bottom line. It's like we said, it's easier to bail right now. Like you feel like you've got a lot of like prospects if you do, because you've got dating apps in your pocket.
yeah,
But I don't know. Like for me, I want permanence
yeah.
again. I
And
want
I
what
think
I
you mentioned on the last episode, so I'm not saying anything out of school, but that sometimes too, like your life experience, like you mentioned your partner has had different life experiences that make her a little bit questioning more of whether is there such
right.
thing anymore as forever?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
still kind of traditional that I want us to hope that there is.
Yeah. And I think she and I both hope that there is, I
Yeah,
think I'm a little bit more optimistic about that. And she's not so because she's still healing, you know?
right.
So we're not always going to be on the same page in a relationship. We're not always going to be like on this level playing field of like where we're at in life. And I think a lot of the time people expect like you meet and you're both fully healed and in a safe, calm space where you both want the same things at the same time. And that's just not always the case.
No. And the triggers like that are there, it's like what I've gotten a lot of clarity around, like what gets under my skin and what is it?
Mhm.
What it's like, it's my own work. Why does X bother me? Or why does Z bother
Yeah. And sometimes that you just have to dig deep and figure that out because it has nothing to do with your partner. It's usually something to do with the past.
me? Right. And I don't
What is
always
this
know how to do
saying?
that.
Don't let the past dictate the future,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, you can try to make those good decisions and be really mindful and do it all right. But I think it's sometimes is very hard. And I think I really do crave stability and safety. I say it all the time in
Mhm.
everything. I crave it in every part of my life.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, like it bothers
And that
me.
circles back to childhood.
Yeah, it does. But it does bother me when I see, like, in this lesbian world, it feels like a lot of breakups a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It
I
makes me
agree.
sad. Like, I don't like that.
But we do have friends that are getting engaged and getting married. Like I know a few people right now that are, and you said Megan and Kelly are just got engaged too.
Yeah,
So
congrats to Megan and Kelly.
yes, that's amazing. Like and um Marina and I have some friends, Bree and Ricky, they just got married over the weekend. Beautiful wedding. So there it's promising.
It's promising. Check back in 10 years.
Yeah. Like, exactly.
I'm totally kidding.
Um I mean, yeah, like we said, this is kind of a sad episode.
Well, it's not, it doesn't
Um,
have to be. It's just like, I wonder what
it
those
doesn't
things
have to
are.
be.
Yeah, like what are those things? Maybe it's too that you've come through a huge thing. Like I remember at the beginning of my relationship when we were having so many issues around blending. And I thought, you know what? I even verbalized it in therapy with her. I've blew up my entire life. I'm not year one making concessions around what I want. Like,
Hmm.
I'm just not. Like, call me selfish, call me indulgent, call me all these things, but I didn't blow up everything to get half of what I want,
Right.
So I don't, to me, it was like, I remember I was so clear on that, and I still am.
Yeah,
Like, I know what I want.
exactly. And I think no matter what, like at least my mindset is that my kids take precedence.
Yeah,
Like for the next 10 years until they're 18, like that's just how it is. And some
right.
people might have an issue with that, but
Not the
that's
right
not my
person.
people.
Yeah, I think you've got a good partner for that.
Absolutely.
Um,
Um, before we wrap, I wanted to bring up that shooting in Colorado Springs that
oh
happened
yeah,
last week, which I don't know. It's such a there's shootings all the time in the US. It's
it's terrible.
fucking terrible. It's terrifying. But when it happens to people in like your community, it just really hits home.
Yeah,
And especially in a place like that that's very safe, um, a safe space for queer people. And I have done some TikTok videos about straight people in gay spaces and how it's kind of annoying because like
yeah,
sometimes they're dicks.
yeah.
Um, but I just wanted to point out that some of the victims of this shooting are straight, and the person that stopped the shooting is a straight man. So it's like it's nice that we have these allies out there, and you know, it's not just the queer community that's been impacted by this shooting.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it was a trans woman that came up and stomped on the shooter as
You
well
gotta love
with
the
her high
optics of
heels.
that.
I
You've
mean,
gotta
that's
love the
fucking amazing.
optics of that.
Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. Um, and just great too that they were able to, like, that guy was able to have the balls to go into action in that moment and drag
I
that guy down. It's
know.
incredible.
It's
Like,
so incredible. I mean, my heart goes out, but it is so incredible. It's like that the people are willing to die for the cause.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
I think that guy has a brewery too in Colorado Springs. And I saw that they were like totally sold out of merchandise.
Oh,
Like
that's
all these people
kick-ass.
have just like
Yes.
bought out everything that they had. So
Yeah, I love
I think
that.
that's really cool. So I mean, as devastating as that situation is, it's great to see people coming together and, the call to action, and
For
hopefully
sure.
some shit changes. That's what I
Yes.
think with everyone though.
I know. And it's just like, what the hell? I was watching something the other day where they were voting on banning assault rifles. And I literally was like, banning, like, to me, it's like, show me the argument for assault rifles. Like, I would love
No
to
shit.
hear, even my parents are like, this is
No shit.
ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
who is for that anyone should be able to get an assault rifle? Who? Who is on
Yeah.
the other side of
I
this
I
coin? Help me.
do not understand, like,
Yeah.
at all.
It's so
Like,
strange to me.
and even if you are for it, like, is it fucking worth it to have your little toy?
I don't even,
Like,
what's the toy
that,
for? Do you even need it for hunting? Like, what is it for?
no one's using it for hunting. They're using it to like go target shooting. Like, the responsible gun owners, that's what they want it for. But I'm like, okay, how often are these weapons used in these mass shooting situations? Like, do we really need our toy to go target shooting? Like, you've got plenty of other fucking guns you can use.
Yeah, I
You know,
can't wrap my
like,
brain
I'm
around
not
that.
anti-gun. Like, own your guns, but let's own them in a responsible way, and
For
let's
sure.
do a better job of figuring out who in the fuck has a gun.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of every other week there's a shooting, and the fact that my kids are like, my kids don't know what happened in Uvalde, because I didn't want them to know, and I've done everything to shield them from that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they do these fucking shooter drills at school,
I know.
and they don't understand it. They're scared. They actually had a scare not too long ago where they were hiding for about 40 minutes, not knowing what was going on, at my kid's school in Peachtree City. And
That's
like,
insane.
the school kind of downplayed it, but my daughter was like, kids in my class were crying. And
Of
she was like, I
course
was
they
scared. I
were.
didn't know what was
Yeah.
happening, you know? And I'm like, God damn it. Like, they have to fucking experience this when it's just like some kind of false alarm, and the school kind of brushes it under the rug. But I didn't have to do this shit in school.
No, neither did I. It's terrifying. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Even the people I know that own guns and are pretty conservative are like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
So,
what was we talking about? The shooting in Atlantic Station last night.
yeah, she told me a
12-year-old 12-year-old boy was killed. Like, why in the fuck do these kids have guns? Where are they getting them?
Where are they getting them? And I don't know. They need to hold the parents responsible.
I
I'm sure
agree,
they catch hell for that,
100%.
but yeah,
No, like, that's what happened, I think, with Parkland shooting. The parents are being held responsible in some degree,
yeah.
which I think is what needs to happen. Don't buy
Yeah.
your fucking kid a gun.
No.
Like,
No, it's terrible.
all right. I don't want to get too political, although I don't know that that's political. That's
No, to me, it's like common sense.
yeah.
But, okay, we've depressed everyone enough.
I know, right?
Nothing
Happy
lasts.
holidays.
Nothing lasts. Everybody breaks up,
No-
and there's a lot of
nothing
gun
lasts.
violence.
Welcome
So
to America.
Happy Sunday. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
This
Oh
is
my God.
terrible. Oh Lord.
We'll be back with more positivity.
I know. What do we say? We gotta
Eventually.
get Hoffman on.
Oh
Hoffman,
yeah,
we're
we
doing
want to
the
get
sex
Julia Hoffman
episode.
back on so we can
Yes.
talk about sex and my mysteriously disappeared
We
glass
want to talk
dildo.
about the missing vibrator. If you know who you are, if you're listening, just send cash.
Own up. Send me a Venmo.
Just send her a
$60.
Venmo, no questions asked.
I looked up the price earlier. It was $60.
60.
It's still on Adam and Eve's website.
So just get
Or
on
we
it
can
right
just
now.
crowdfund me a new dildo.
We're sure you'll do the right thing. We're sure you'll do the right thing.
I'm sure. I don't even think this person that I'm thinking of listens to the podcast. But
Oh, they might, maybe they do. There's someone will tell them. They know, they've seen the glass dildo there. They know who
Right.
you are.
they have it displayed.
Exactly.
Has a little plaque stolen
Exactly.
from Marina's condo.
Yep. We're looking for
All
it.
right.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandalli@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Alli, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.